here is in reference to the Hawd Kawthar because of that hadith in Muslim Sharif. Upon the revelation of that surah, Rasulullah ﷺ recited that surah, and then he himself spoke of the description of the Hawd Kawthar in that very same hadith as well. Therefore, we are more inclined to refer to Al-Kawthar as the Hawd Kawthar, the well of Kawthar, rather than just saying a lot of good, which is the literal translation of Al-Kawthar. By the way, once when I was still a student, I was walking by the masjid with a group of buddies of mine, and there's a guy who's a Hafiz al-Quran, but at that point in time of his life, he fell into a little bit of bad company, and he was semi-sober at that time. And passing by, he was sitting on the corner of the street. His last name is Lorigat, so we used to call him Lori. So we know excellent Hafiz al-Quran. When Ramadan comes and he's sober, you can't beat him. Unfortunately at that time, I have no idea what has become of him. But unfortunately at that time, he was a bit down on his soberism. So he said that Sheikh, or group of Sheikhs, tell me which is the only surah in the Quran without the letter Mim. The only surah in the Quran without the letter Mim. I mean, I take away Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which is a juz, but which is the only surah in the Quran without the letter Mim. So everybody starting with the smaller surahs, smaller but not going to that Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar, Qul Allahu ahad Allahu samad, samad, Mim, samad. That's Mim, that's all. Surah Baqarah, no, that can never be Surah. Let's go, let's go, let's keep on going. I'll tell you, Surah Kawthar, Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar, only surah in the Quran without the letter Mim. So, you don't know where you can learn your points from in life. So don't overlook anybody, whether they are sober or not sober. You never know where hikmah may come from. Like the great Imam Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi, when he had to find that masla, there's a particular masla of deen where a dog becomes mature. But there's the urine of a dog that is immature, and the urine, or still a baby, and the urine of a dog or the saliva of a dog that is mature. There is a different Shari ruling regarding it according to some scholars. Why? Because they say that dog that's still a baby is actually sucking milk from its mom, and the milk of a dog is not najis, because the dog is not like a pig, which is najisul ayn. That's like a related story which the fuqaha used to debate with all the time. So he had to find out that when does a dog become mature? When does a dog in its life? Nobody knew the answer. Nobody, of course, who thinks of that? Who thinks of that? When is a dog no longer a puppy and it's now an adult? And the person who told him was actually like a guard sort of guy who used to keep dogs. And he mentioned to him that when a dog lifts its leg and urinates, it's now mature, because it's marking its territory. And the need for territory only comes in a mature animal. When it's a puppy, it's subservient. Whenever that guy used to come by the masjid, the Sheikh used to stand up and greet him. He taught me something. He taught me something. He's a teacher of mine. He taught me something, for you don't know where you can learn things from people in life. Have you got another question here?
A question that's in the Kawthar, a river, nahar, or a pond?
Right, I think I've mentioned that. Kawthar is normally a pond, but it's so large that Rasulullah ﷺ quite often refers to it as a river because of its volume. But it seems to be a pond. The description is how that it is surrounded on all sides with no outlet or inlet, but because of the volume of its water, and quite often large lakes, large bodies of water were referred to either as bahar or referred to as nahar in the Arabic connotation. So in that instance, it seems to be a pond, but the word nahar has been used because of its vast volume of water.
Going back to the question about forgiving a murder, who is eligible to forgive murder? Is the forgiveness of the victim in any way attainable?
The forgiveness of the victim when the victim is dead. Right? So the victim is now dead, and the victim has got no contact with the people of this. Even if he appears in anybody's dream and says, I say that forgive him, that dream will not hold actually in account of law. Dreams are not held. They're not tangible evidence in account of law. It may be a personal message if that person wants to take it to be a personal lesson, but the judge cannot come to the court tomorrow and say, and the victim came in my dream, I'm the judge. And he came in my dream and he says I must forgive him, so case dismissed. Everybody go home. Can't do that. Who is eligible to forgive that person? Say for example a man was killed, his wife. All those people who actually inherit from him immediately, his sons, his daughters, it will first be calculated who is inheriting from that person right now. And whoever is eligible to inherit from that person from a Shari point of view, not the people who he may have included inside his will up to 1/3, not them, but the eligible Shari inheritors, they will be the people who will have the right of forgiving that person. Now what if you have a whole bunch of them, 10 of them, and 9 guys say we're not going to forgive him, 1 guy says I am going to forgive him. No death sentence. There's no vote. Even if one person has to say that the guy, I forgive him, he will be imprisoned, he'll be whatever. But the death sentence will not be imposed on him because even one person piped up and said that I forgive that person. All he has to do is say it once. If he came back the next day and said, I withdraw my forgiveness, not good enough. But if at that point he says even once that I forgive him, death sentence will not be imposed. However, I said that the Qadi may impose other penalties if he considers this person to be a danger to society.
Another question specifically referring to the hadith about Zainab's body. What was that hadith? Where is it? Zainab's baby.
Okay. Zainab's baby, radiallahu anha, you will find it if you have a copy of the Riyadh al-Salihin under Bab al-Sabr, which is I think the 4th or the 5th chapter of that Riyadh al-Salihin. And you will find it round about the middle of that chapter. It is a hadith of Muslim Sharif, and it will start like this if you have got the Arabic text in front of you. وَالسَّبِيُّ يُرْفَعُ إِلَيْهِ وَنَفْسُهُ تَقَعْقَعُ. That is how the hadith actually starts, that the child was raised to him, وَنَفْسُهُ تَقَعْقَعُ, and the soul of that child was now breathing its last. That will be the middle portion of that hadith. If you have an easy book like Riyadh al-Salihin, it's in Bab al-Sabr, chapter on patience. And if you have a big text like Muslim, you'll probably find it there under chapter of patience, or probably numerous places. Inshallah, next week if I come, I will try and bring a copy of that, whoever answers that question. I'll bring a copy of that hadith. Yes. Are we done?
That's all the questions I have.
But I have anything? Yeah.
Is there any way, like, you can have like your email if we want to ask you a question or something? Or some way to contact you?
There's a personal question?
It's kind of random.
Okay, I will leave you with my email contacts, inshallah, and then after. Any other class-related questions? Yes.
I know in Arabic, like each letter has like some special, like significance or meaning, right? So for Surah Kawthar, the fact that there's no meme in it, is there something that the scholars have like, or?
You see, when it comes to the Quran, I mean, we take it as far as the scripture is concerned, but there is a level to how philosophical and spiritual we should become with any aspect of the deen. It's just a piece of knowledge, general knowledge, that there's no meme inside there. And leave it at that. That's what it is, there's no meme. Why? Well, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if there really is an issue. But in fact, I've never ever come across it in any book that tells you, hey, Surah Kawthar is the only one without meme inside there. Whether it is a great tafsir of the Quran, they don't really bring it to attention. It was just that brother at that time who made that observation. And people who are like that, they make like the keenness of observation. Like you always see these comedians who try and impersonate all the semi-toxic people or intoxicated people that when under the influence, you have a drag on some heavy stuff, and then you look at the love seat. I gotta be in love to sit on that seat. Otherwise, you got a love seat. You know what I mean? Or they look at some other things of the room, and they get philosophical about it. So probably that brother was at a high level of his philosophy at that time when he communicated with us.